Thank you very much, Governor, for being here tonight. My name is Jim Bleidner. I live in Southbury, and I can appreciate what you did in New York in 1980, 1973. I was a police officer there and only made $9,000 a year. However, I went on to become a Connecticut State Trooper, and I'm now retired from that agency as a detective. I was also one of the original founders of the State Police Union and served as vice president for many years during the 80s. My initial purpose coming up here, reference the gun issue, was how you intend to indemnify the police officers, including the men who are standing here with you, in case some of these issues are later on overturned on constitutional grounds. I'm not referencing the weapons themselves, but for instance, those magazines are taken as a forfeiture without compensation. That could be ruled unconstitutional. Under federal 1983 statutes, these officers, any other officer in this state, could be held civilly liable. But that really wasn't, that was the original thrust of my question, but I want to get into something a little bit further.
Sure.
Your very first questioner, I believe it was Ms. Perez, asked you, I thought, a very cogent question about why you felt the civilian populace was not entitled to carry the same type of weapons as police officers. Police officers and the agencies they work in are by definition defensive in nature. There isn't one tool I possessed or any of the officers in here possess, who, by the way, most of which carry far more than 10-round magazine capacities, are defined as anything other than defensive. They're used to defend themselves and the members of the public with which they serve. Okay. Now, I, as a retired officer, cannot understand the logic behind the proposal that my adult wife, my adult children, and the adult children and wives and families of any present officers are entitled to any less measure of self-defense protection than the officers that presently serve in this state. Now, I came up with a proposal for myself. As a union official, I feel I still have my pulse on the finger, pulse on the temple of what most officers feel, although I'm about a generation or two removed. Most of the guys I talk to feel the same way. They're not chiefs or commissioners who are politically beholden to their masters. They're far more in tune with sheriffs and other parts of the countries who are directly responsible for their constituency in this issue. This is a proposal I have, and I'd like to see it adopted by other police agencies in this state and throughout the state as a general matter of principle on gun rights. And it goes as follows. It's my name, but you can put in any police agency or fraternal organization that's place. I, Jim Bleidner, as a retired police officer, support vigorous enforcement of existing regulations that keep firearms in possession of criminals and the mentally unfit. I oppose any legislation that diminishes the right of law-abiding persons to possess the same type of defensive tools that are common between the citizenry and the law enforcement officers with which they are partnered, not separate. And I take offense to that there's a dichotomy between the police officers and the civilian populace. That is not true, and the hubris expressed by that opinion, to me, is breathtaking. Thank you.
The condition that you described of hubris is exactly what existed in this country until 2004, when the assault weapons ban was allowed to expire.
And thank God it was overturned because it was mistaken.
And you and I disagree.
Up next.